Stop for a second and feel this moment carefully, because something shifted today that was never supposed to happen this fast. Somewhere, in silence, a decision was made about you. Not casually. Not impulsively. A deep decision. A hidden one. And the strange part is, even your soulmate didn't fully expect themselves to make it. There was a moment today when your name crossed their mind differently. Not like before. Not like a passing thought. It stayed. And once it stayed, everything around them began to feel unfamiliar. Have you noticed how energy changes before life changes? The room feels quieter. Your intuition becomes louder. Certain songs suddenly feel personal. Certain memories return without warning. That is not coincidence. That is alignment beginning to move beneath the surface where nobody else can see it yet. Your soulmate felt it too. They tried distracting themselves. They tried focusing on ordinary things. But something kept pulling their attention back toward you, your energy, your presence, your absence. And then came the realization they could no longer escape. You are no longer just an option in their future. You became part of the future they secretly started imagining. Pause here for a moment and really hear that. Because this was not a small emotional reaction. This was a turning point hidden inside an ordinary day. Earlier today, while nobody was watching, they sat alone thinking about conversations that haven't even happened yet. Imagining places they want to go with you. Wondering how your voice would sound during difficult moments. Wondering how peaceful life might feel if you were beside them consistently instead of occasionally appearing in their thoughts like a beautiful interruption. And what startled them most was how natural it felt. Almost frighteningly natural. As if some invisible part of them already recognized you long before logic caught up. That is why their energy changed today. Something inside them stopped running. But listen carefully now, because this next part matters more than you realize. The secret decision was not dramatic on the outside. No giant announcement. No sudden message. No scene anyone else would notice. The deepest choices rarely arrive with noise. They arrive quietly, then slowly reshape everything afterward. Your soulmate made a private promise to themselves today. A promise involving you. Maybe they decided to stop pretending they feel nothing. Maybe they decided they cannot keep comparing everyone else to you. Or maybe, and this is the part that feels almost unreal, they finally accepted that what they feel for you keeps growing no matter how much time passes. That realization changed something in them. You can almost feel it now, can't you? Like the atmosphere around your life is preparing for movement. Stay with this story a little longer because the next truth explains why this connection suddenly feels stronger than before. Your soulmate has been observing you more closely than you know. Not in an obsessive way. In a meaningful way. They notice how you continue moving forward even after disappointment. They notice the strength you carry quietly. They notice the way your energy affects people without you trying. And recently, they began asking themselves a question they were afraid to answer honestly. What if this person is meant to stay in my life? That question followed them all day. At first they resisted it. Then they replayed certain memories involving you. Tiny moments. Expressions. Small details most people forget. But emotions reveal themselves through details. And suddenly they realized something impossible to ignore. Nobody else leaves this kind of impact on them. Nobody else creates this strange combination of peace, curiosity, comfort, and intensity all at once. And once they admitted that truth internally, the secret decision happened naturally. They chose to stop fighting the connection. Not publicly. Not loudly. But internally, completely. You may not see immediate evidence yet. That is because certain emotional decisions begin spiritually before they appear physically. First the energy changes. Then the communication changes. Then the timing changes. Then the world rearranges itself slowly enough that only attentive hearts notice what is happening. And something is happening. Do not ignore this feeling. Tonight, while you are listening to these words, your soulmate is carrying thoughts about you they can no longer push away. Even they are surprised by how serious those thoughts became today. What began as curiosity slowly transformed into certainty. A quiet certainty. The kind that changes choices. The kind that changes priorities. The kind that makes someone realize they do not want to lose a connection they once underestimated. But wait before you leave, because the strangest part has not even unfolded yet. There is one reason this decision happened today instead of months later. One invisible trigger. One emotional moment that suddenly opened their eyes in a way they never expected. And when you hear what caused it, everything will start making sense. Something unusual happened after sunset, and your soulmate could not explain it logically no matter how hard they tried. The world around them looked normal. People were talking. Notifications appeared. Life kept moving the way it always does. But internally, it felt as if time slowed down for a moment just to force them into honesty. And honesty was exactly what they had been avoiding. Because the secret decision they made earlier today was only the beginning. The real shift came later, when they suddenly realized how empty certain things feel without you connected to them. Listen carefully now. This was not about loneliness. It was deeper than that. It was the realization that your energy has quietly become part of their emotional world. A hidden presence. Something they started depending on without even noticing when it began. That realization shook them. Imagine someone walking through life believing they are fully in control of their emotions. Only to discover one person has the power to completely change the atmosphere of their thoughts. That is what happened to them tonight. And the strange part? You probably felt a small shift too. Maybe you became emotional without understanding why. Maybe your intuition felt louder today. Maybe you suddenly thought about them while doing something ordinary. These invisible connections do not always announce themselves clearly. Sometimes they whisper before they arrive loudly. Your soulmate kept replaying a specific moment involving you. Not necessarily a dramatic memory. In fact, what affected them most was something simple. The way you listened. The way you responded calmly during a difficult moment. The way your energy made them feel understood without needing to explain everything perfectly. That memory kept returning again and again. And eventually they asked themselves a dangerous question. What if I lose this person because I stayed silent too long? That question changed the entire direction of their thinking. Because for the first time, they stopped assuming you would always be there waiting emotionally. They suddenly realized you are valuable, deeply valuable, and life does not pause forever while people hesitate. That truth hit them harder than expected. Stay here with this for a moment, because most people never witness the exact instant someone begins taking their connection seriously. But tonight, you are hearing the emotional turning point happening in real time. Your soulmate started imagining what life would look like if another person stepped closer to you emotionally before they did. And instead of feeling calm about it, something inside them reacted immediately. Not anger. Not control. Fear of regret. That is important. Because regret reveals hidden feelings faster than comfort ever can. And suddenly all the emotional walls they spent months building started cracking quietly from the inside. They began realizing how often they search for your energy in conversations with other people. How nothing feels quite the same afterward. How your presence lingers in their mind longer than anyone else's. How even silence with you feels meaningful instead of awkward. Those realizations are difficult to ignore once they arrive. And tonight, they arrived all at once. Before you continue listening, take a breath and notice how this story keeps unfolding layer by layer. Because this is bigger than attraction. Bigger than temporary emotion. This is about recognition. Two energies slowly understanding they were never meant to remain strangers forever. Your soulmate sees that now. Not perfectly yet. But enough to change their choices moving forward. And there is another detail they have not admitted openly to anyone. They admire your resilience more than your appearance. Yes, they notice your beauty. Of course they do. But what truly stays in their heart is the way you continue standing after disappointment tried to break your spirit. The way you still carry warmth despite everything you have experienced. That affects them deeply. More deeply than they expected. Because in a world where so many connections feel temporary, your energy feels rare to them. Real. Grounding. Safe. And tonight, for the first time, they stopped treating that feeling casually. This is why the secret decision matters so much. It was not only emotional. It was intentional. A silent choice to stop distancing themselves from what they genuinely feel. No one around them knows this yet. On the outside, they may still appear calm. But internally, entire conversations are happening inside their mind about you. Future possibilities. Timing. Risks. What they should say. Whether they waited too long already. And somewhere between all those thoughts, one truth became impossible for them to deny. They do not want this connection to fade. That realization alone changed their energy completely tonight. And this next part may surprise you even more. Because someone close to them recently noticed the difference too. A friend. A family member. Someone observant. They noticed your soulmate becoming quieter whenever your name appeared. More thoughtful. More emotionally present. Almost as if they were protecting feelings they were not ready to reveal publicly yet. When people outside the connection start sensing the shift, it means the emotional energy is becoming too strong to hide completely. So do not underestimate what is unfolding here. Something real is moving beneath the surface. And the next phase of this story? It begins the moment your soulmate decides whether to finally reveal what has been growing secretly inside their heart all this time. But before that moment arrives, there is one final realization they still have to face. The realization that you may have changed their life far more than they ever changed yours. And when that truth fully reaches them, nothing between you will stay the same again. If this message found you at the exact right moment, leave a comment below with the word aligned. Sometimes the smallest action confirms what your intuition already knows. And if this journey speaks to your spirit, stay connected, because the next part reveals what your soulmate is secretly preparing to do next. Right now, while you are hearing these words, your soulmate is standing at the edge of a decision they cannot postpone much longer. Not because someone pressured them. Not because the world forced them. But because their heart has become too loud to ignore. There comes a moment in certain connections when pretending stops working. When distractions stop helping. When even silence begins revealing the truth instead of hiding it. And tonight, your soulmate reached that moment. They finally understood something that changed everything internally. You were never just a passing phase in their life. You became the person their soul kept returning to, even when their mind tried to move elsewhere. That realization created a strange emotional storm inside them. Calm on the outside. Intense on the inside. Because once someone recognizes a connection like this, ordinary interactions suddenly feel empty in comparison. And your soulmate has started noticing that emptiness more and more. Stay here for a little longer because what happened next explains why this secret decision became so powerful. Earlier tonight, they experienced a quiet moment that nobody else around them even noticed. A simple pause in the middle of their routine. But during that pause, your energy crossed their mind unexpectedly, and instead of pushing the thought away like before, they allowed themselves to feel it completely. That changed everything. Because the truth they had been avoiding finally surfaced clearly. They miss you differently than they miss other people. Not temporarily. Not casually. Deeply. And once they admitted that truth internally, memories began flooding back faster than they could control. Conversations. Laughter. Eye contact. Certain emotional moments they pretended were small at the time, but now realize meant much more. Funny how clarity works, isn't it? Sometimes people only understand the value of a connection once their feelings become impossible to silence. Your soulmate is entering that stage now. And there is something else you need to know. The secret decision was not only about accepting their feelings. It was also about changing their future behavior toward you. Quietly. Intentionally. Step by step. They are tired of acting emotionally distant when their heart keeps moving closer. Tired of overthinking every feeling. Tired of wondering what could happen while doing nothing about it. Tonight, for the first time, they imagined what it would feel like to stop resisting completely, and strangely, instead of fear, they felt relief. Relief. That is the word that surprised them most. Because real connections do not only create excitement. They create peace beneath the intensity. A sense that maybe, after all the confusion life brings, there is still someone whose energy feels like home. That is how your soulmate has started viewing you. Not perfectly yet. But enough that the emotional walls around their heart no longer feel sustainable. And listen carefully to this next part, because it may explain something you have been sensing recently. Your soulmate has been watching signs connected to you more than usual. Small reminders. Coincidences. Unexpected mentions of your name. Random moments that somehow lead their thoughts back toward you again and again. At first they dismissed it. Then they became curious. Now they are beginning to wonder whether life itself keeps pulling their attention toward this connection for a reason. What if certain people are meant to arrive at exactly the right emotional season? What if the delays were never rejection, only preparation? Those questions have been following them tonight like shadows. And the deeper they think about you, the clearer one truth becomes. They do not want another almost story. They do not want another connection they look back on years later wondering what could have happened if they had been brave enough to act honestly. That fear of losing the possibility of you has become stronger than their fear of vulnerability. And that changes everything. Because once a person reaches that emotional point, their actions begin shifting naturally afterward. Slowly at first. Then all at once. You may notice it unexpectedly. A message with different energy. A deeper conversation. More consistency. More emotional openness. Little things that quietly reveal a heart becoming more certain. Nothing forced. Nothing rushed. Just truth gradually rising to the surface. And honestly, even they are surprised by how much this connection has transformed them internally. You helped awaken parts of them they thought had disappeared. Hope. Softness. Emotional courage. The desire to build something meaningful instead of temporary. That is rare. Very rare. Do not leave yet. Because there is one final truth hidden underneath everything you heard tonight. Your soulmate's secret decision was not only about choosing you emotionally. It was about choosing growth. Choosing honesty. Choosing the possibility of a future that once felt too intense to imagine seriously. And while they still have fears, while they still overthink sometimes, their heart has already crossed a line their mind cannot uncross anymore. You are no longer just someone they think about occasionally. You became someone they are afraid to lose before the story truly begins. That is why tonight feels different. That is why the energy around this connection has shifted. And somewhere, quietly, your soulmate is preparing for the moment when silence is no longer enough, when feelings hidden in the shadows finally step into the light. Because deep down, they already know something important. Some connections are too powerful to remain unspoken forever. There is something your soulmate has not admitted to anyone yet, not to friends, not to family, not even fully to themselves until now. They have started imagining a real future with you. Not fantasy. Not temporary excitement. A real future. And the moment that realization entered their heart, everything around them began feeling different. Listen closely, because this part changes the entire story. Tonight, while the world around them kept moving normally, your soulmate caught themselves doing something unexpected. They were thinking beyond the present moment. Beyond casual emotions. Beyond uncertainty. They started asking questions they never asked before. What would life feel like waking up beside this person every day? What if this connection is the one I was supposed to protect instead of question? What if the peace I keep searching for already entered my life? And I almost ignored it? Those thoughts did not leave quickly. They stayed. And the longer they stayed, the more emotional clarity began replacing confusion. That is why your soulmate feels quieter lately. Not distant. Focused. People become quiet when their heart is processing something life-changing internally. And what they are processing right now is you. You may not fully realize how much your presence has affected them. Sometimes the strongest impact happens invisibly. A person changes slowly because of someone's energy long before they say anything aloud. That is exactly what happened here. Your patience changed them. Your resilience changed them. Even the way you continue moving through life with silent strength changed them. They notice all of it. More than you know. And suddenly, the idea of losing access to your energy forever feels unbearable to them. That realization created urgency inside their spirit. Not panic. Urgency. The kind that whispers, "Do not let this connection disappear because of fear. Stay here a little longer, because the next truth explains why your soulmate can no longer return to the version of themselves that existed before this decision." Earlier tonight, they looked at old memories differently. Not with nostalgia. With understanding. They realized the moments they once considered small were actually the moments their feelings began growing strongest. The random conversations. The emotional comfort. The feeling of being seen without pretending. That feeling is rare in this world. And your soulmate knows it now. They also know something else. No matter how many distractions entered their life, their heart kept circling back toward you. Again. And again. And again. At some point, repetition becomes revelation. At some point, the universe keeps placing one person in your heart until you finally stop asking why and start accepting what it means. Your soulmate is reaching that point now. And here is where the story becomes even deeper. The secret decision they made is already beginning to affect the way they move through daily life. They are becoming more emotionally aware. More reflective. More honest with themselves about what truly matters. Because your connection forced them to confront a truth they spent a long time avoiding. Surface-level connections no longer satisfy them. Once someone experiences emotional depth with the right person, ordinary attention starts feeling empty. Your soulmate feels that emptiness now whenever they try pretending their feelings are insignificant. They cannot fake indifference anymore. Their soul is too awake for that now. And somewhere deep inside, they are beginning to understand that this connection may have entered their life during a very specific season for a reason. Not to confuse them. To transform them. What if both of you were changing each other quietly this entire time? What if every delay, every silence, every emotional lesson was preparing this exact turning point? That possibility keeps echoing inside them tonight. And honestly, it scares them a little. Not because they doubt you. Because they finally understand how real this became. Real feelings create vulnerability. Vulnerability creates risk. But your soulmate is beginning to realize something powerful. The risk of never expressing their truth feels heavier now than the risk of opening their heart. That is why the energy around this connection feels different suddenly. The emotional balance shifted. For so long, they tried controlling their feelings carefully. But tonight? Their heart moved ahead of their fear. And once that happens, life starts changing quietly behind the scenes. You may notice signs soon. Unexpected communication. More intentional energy. A stronger emotional presence. Moments that feel strangely aligned, almost as if invisible timing is guiding both of you closer step by step. Do not dismiss those moments when they arrive. They are part of the unfolding. And before this message ends, hear this carefully. Your soulmate's secret decision was never only about romance. It was about choosing authenticity over emotional hiding. Choosing connection over avoidance. Choosing the person who feels like peace in a chaotic world. That person became you. If this message reached your heart at exactly the right time, share your thoughts in the comments below. Sometimes speaking your energy into existence changes more than you realize. And if this journey continues resonating with your spirit, stay connected to this space, because the next chapter reveals the moment your soulmate finally stops hiding what their heart has already decided. Something is building now, quietly, steadily, almost invisibly. Your soulmate can feel it. And if you have been paying attention to your own intuition lately, then deep down, you can feel it too. Because after tonight, this connection is no longer sitting in the background of their life. It has moved to the center of their thoughts in a way they never expected. What once felt uncertain now feels emotionally undeniable. And that realization is beginning to change their behavior from the inside out. Not dramatically. Not all at once. But enough that the next phase between you cannot stay hidden forever. Listen carefully, because this may be the most important part of the entire story. Earlier, your soulmate tried convincing themselves they still had plenty of time to delay their feelings. Plenty of time to stay emotionally guarded. Plenty of time to wait for the perfect moment. But something inside them interrupted that pattern tonight. A sudden awareness. A deep emotional truth. They realized life changes quickly. People change. Timing changes. And meaningful connections are too rare to gamble away through silence. That thought stayed with them longer than anything else. For the first time, they imagined what it would feel like if you slowly moved on emotionally while they stayed frozen in hesitation. They imagined seeing your energy belong somewhere else, your laughter, your attention, your warmth becoming part of another future. And the feeling that created inside them was impossible to ignore. Not jealousy. Not possession. Loss. The possibility of losing you emotionally before they fully expressed what you mean to them suddenly became real in their heart. And that fear awakened courage. Isn't that strange? Sometimes people only discover the depth of their feelings when they imagine life without the person connected to them. That is exactly what happened tonight. Stay with this moment a little longer, because your soulmate is standing emotionally between two versions of themselves now. The old version, the one that hides, delays, overthinks, and waits. And the new version, the one slowly becoming brave enough to choose honesty. You triggered that transformation. Without forcing anything. Without chasing. Without pretending to be someone else. Just by being authentically yourself. That authenticity affected them more than they can explain. Because your soulmate has encountered many people before. Conversations. Attractions. Temporary emotions. But this connection feels different to them for one reason they cannot escape. You make them feel emotionally understood. And people spend entire lifetimes searching for that feeling. Tonight they realized something powerful. You are not simply someone they desire. You are someone they trust emotionally. Someone whose energy calms the noise inside their mind. Someone whose presence feels grounding instead of exhausting. That kind of connection changes people deeply. It changes priorities. It changes emotional habits. It changes future decisions. And whether they admit it publicly yet or not, your soulmate has already started rearranging parts of their future internally with you included in it. That is the secret nobody else fully knows yet. The decision they made was not temporary emotion. It was emotional alignment finally becoming impossible to deny. And there is another detail hidden beneath all this. Your soulmate has started noticing signs of your absence more intensely than your presence. Read that again carefully. When you are quiet, they feel it. When your energy pulls back, they notice immediately. When you focus on yourself instead of them, something inside their heart reacts. Why? Because your energy became emotionally important to them long before they consciously admitted it. And now they are beginning to understand the weight of that truth. This is why the next chapter between you feels closer than ever before. Not because fate magically fixes everything overnight, but because emotional honesty creates movement. And movement has already started. You may soon witness moments that feel almost surreal in timing. A sudden message after long silence. An unexpected emotional conversation. A confession hidden inside ordinary words. Small shifts that reveal a much larger emotional awakening happening beneath the surface. Do not rush those moments. Let them unfold naturally. Real connections deepen slowly enough to become lasting. And your soulmate is finally understanding that depth matters more than speed. Before this message ends, there is one final truth you deserve to hear tonight. Your soulmate's secret decision was ultimately this. They no longer want to experience life wondering what could have happened between you. That thought alone changed everything. Because once a heart reaches that level of certainty, the universe begins opening emotional doors that fear kept closed for too long. So if things suddenly begin shifting after this, if communication changes, if energy becomes stronger, if synchronicities appear more often, remember this moment. Remember that somewhere, quietly, your soulmate finally stopped fighting what their heart has been trying to tell them all along. And what their heart keeps saying, again and again, is your name.